Today we're looking at the FZG Parts Tremolo Switch. Hello and welcome. Well, you all know, some of you, not y'all, not y'all know, some of y'all know what it's like to have a bitchy Floyd system, or not necessarily Floyd, could also be a vintage trem, but a free floating tremolo system. What's the problem with it? Well, it is free floating, which means it can go down, but it also can go up, which means that the spring tension in the back will have to be adjusted to be exactly the same pull that the strings have. When you're bending up, it'll pull it down. The product today cannot help you with that. But if a string breaks, these springs will pull harder, and that means the tremolo will go up, and therefore all of your strings are out of tune. You can't continue during a gig or during a recording session. If you're changing strings, you're of course changing the complete tension, and it's a bitch. So what many people do is they will put something in the back to block it perfectly in that position and change the strings. Not the most accurate way to do it, but it's possible, but a pain in the ass. If you want to go to drop D, well, just that one whole step on the low E string will be enough to completely detune your guitar, and you have to do massive retuning, open all of this, probably even change the spring tension in the back for the trem to be in equilibrium. Now, FZG Parts contacted me and said, we're doing a Kickstarter thing for this very simple tool, and it's the Tremolo Switch. And this is what it looks like. This is so freaking German. It is very clearly made on a lathe, handmade, I assume in Germany, by a guy that likes to do it. There's a spring in here. You pull this with some tension and you push it out. Bam. This thing right here, right there, will go against your tremolo block. You really have to adjust it perfectly. Bam. And when that is exactly against your tremolo block, with a little bit of tension, a little bit of pushing against the block, otherwise it rattles, it cannot go down. So if a string breaks, the trem block tries to push in this direction, but it can't because it's blocking right here. And your tremolo is locked in the up position. You can still wiggle down, but you cannot wiggle up. If you then want to use it up and down again, because you're not doing drop D or whatever, all you got to do is go in the back between the springs will be here, between the springs, lift this up, bam, completely free. Now your tremolo is completely free. There is no resistance or anything, because it's literally just pushing against the block. And I will show you in the back here. That's what that looks like. Right now it's completely free. So I can go do this, push it against the trem, bam. Now I cannot, for the life of me, see, I can go up. I cannot go down anymore. So we got Jens right here from Decision Guitars.
Hi there.
Who was nice enough to install the trem switch for us. And he figured out how to do it, we think. So the idea is you set it down where it would hit the trem in 0 position. And then you would mark the back. Obviously here it's going between the springs. Just a tiny little hole. You want to make sure you don't come out of the top of the guitar. That would be bad.
Yeah, let's check. Different screws?
Yeah, one actually sinks in and one doesn't. Oh, okay, we got the right idea. We are a little bit further back than they recommend. However, if we are exactly at the edge where they recommend, it will, with this trem, it will, which is in a good position, it will be too close. So we're actually gonna go back a tiny little bit, but there is some leeway with how far the screw will come out of the bolt. Getting the distance piece actually back into the bolt is going to be a rather tight squeeze. We're going to have to see how much of a pain in the ass that is.
Okay.
We're supposed to put that one in as second screw, but technically that doesn't really matter, I think.
Okay, just be sure that it's straight between the springs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, it could make some strange noise.
It's definitely rather tight with the springs. It's not going to be something that you change on the fly while you're playing. Maybe not even between songs because you have to have the back plate off. But it's something to actually, you can lock it and you can unlock it if you need it. That's the whole idea. So this is what it looks like now.
This is the first step. As far as I can see, we can go there.
So yeah, we can pull it out and get the bolt out, as you can see. Now it's installed, we can move it back and forth. The only question is, how do we now get this screw, which is the actual distance piece, back in there?
That's the fun part.
So I will go down here, take this trem stick, and actually trem it. Wait, I have to...
So we have to work the screw in now.
Even if we had a wrench, needle nose pliers.
This is the perfect...
I have the tools.
This is the perfect rusty tool for...
well, my tool's rusty, okay, fine.
For surgery on open-hearted guitar backs. That's the tricky part. I don't know how to... We need a little wrench to...
I have little wrenches. I don't know if I have wrenches that little. It needs to go in quite a bit further.
This is the funny part to adjust.
I now have some wrenches. I have a whole thing, this is not going to help us because we won't be able to actually get to it. And now we have to take it out so it fits perfectly.
And now we have to touch the tone block. A little bit tricky. Because you have no feeling if you touch the tone block or something else.
And you also said you're supposed to have it touching it while you have the guitar in playing position because obviously gravity plays a role. You're right. It's turning back a bit.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
There's no play between the single parts.
It's a very high quality.
It's very smooth. Running and very tight snap.
Bam, and it's definitely in there. It's not going to go anywhere.
Very clear.
Yeah. This is not a push it over and continue playing immediately because it has to push against it the tiniest bit. Because if it's just right there where it would have to be without any detuning, it will rattle a bit. So you don't want that. So it has to push against it a little bit. And that means right now, it is now free floating and I can, wiggle it as I please. I'm going to just now tighten it. Bam. Now it's in its position against the trem. Let's see where the tuning is. It's a little bit low because it's pushing against it a little bit, so I have to retune. So it is so minimal that you can do it with the fine tuners. You don't have to open it up here. So within a minute, you have this in a half blocked position. Can still go down, but I cannot go up. And, well, that's it. If I now want to go drop D, I might not even have to do that. You can see all the other strings stayed in tune. The trem wants to go down, but it can't because I blocked it. Roughly there. So you can't do that quickly with a normal Floydy guitar. It absolutely works. I can now unlock it. Bam. I will have to retune the guitar a little bit because it's now free floating again. And I'm good to go. That's pretty nifty. So, let's look at the features again. I'm going to have to read that. Tune down without having to readjust your string tension. Well, you can tune down, you can change strings, you are safe from string breakage. Of course, the downside is you can't bend up, but if you don't need that for your gig, this is a safe way to make sure you can still continue playing when you have a string breakage, and most certainly doing drop Ds on a Floyd-equipped guitar. This is, I don't know how much, 80, 90 bucks. This is handmade in Germany. It is super high quality. Without a doubt, this is a very fine piece of craftsmanship right there. It's a simple tool, but it's also non-invasive in a way that it doesn't really attach to your trem, and there's no resistance when you're not using it. When you're not using it, it's in there and does nothing. It just adds a little bit of weight to your guitar. That's it. It does work. Having to install it is a little bit... Putting it in the guitar is easy. Finding the perfect spot to adjust it to is a little bit hard. It took about 20 minutes. It rattled a bit, we had to tighten it a little bit more, and then you have to get that screw to go back a little bit. That's a little bit of a pain in the ass. However, they wrote to me and said, critique noted, and they're actually adding a little screw to the barrel so that when you have it in the right position, you can tighten that from the top and then tighten the nut. So it's going to be quite a bit easier to install it for the production model. I think this is cool. I'm happy that I have this in my Friedman NoHo 24 because, well, I will probably leave this clicked in for good. I might even leave this open in the back so I can do back and forth as I want to. Obviously, if you continuously want to adjust it, you have to keep the back of the guitar open. It's probably something you have locked most of the time, unlocked some of the time. So it's not a change between songs kind of a thing. You could, but again, you have to retune. It's not magic, it's physics. But it's a solid piece of steel. I like the idea, and it's easy to understand. It just blocks the trem. Tremolo Switch from FZG Parts. Nice. I'll link below to the Kickstarter. Get it if you have a Floydy guitar. I have 5. 6. I'm going to say this. Might have to give one to a luthier that I know to try out. I'm going to give away 3 of them. How about this? You sent me a little video of you going completely crazy on your Floyd Rose or similar Ibanez Low Pro Edge, Ibanez Edge, whatever, on your free-floating trem-equipped guitar. Go nuts and be silly. The 3 funniest and silliest wigglies win. You will send your entry, please in, if possible, MOV format, to wigglywiggly@henningpauli.com. wigglywiggly@henningpauli.com. And I will pick 3 winners to send a Tremolo Switch to. Thanks for watching. You've been awesome. Bye-bye. Oh, 9. That's not what we say. What do we say? Animals at the end.